What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Who Are They? Real Talk. Once again, I am Matt, and joining me, as always, is Nate Muhlbach.
As always, I like the sounds of that. Hi, everybody. How's it going? Well, last week was a weird Real Talk because it was kind of the last of a certain way that we do things here. But we are back to having guests and stuff like that. We'll get into that in a second. But Matt, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
I am tired. That's
a fair warning to everybody watching. Just kidding. I am currently drinking Body Armor Light. And by the way, Body Armor Light, should we start a hashtag of Nikki Body Armor Light? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of some things here. Because this tropical coconut stuff is fantastic. I want to drink it every single day of my life.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a return to form here for us. We're going back to the interview with news sprinkled in. We're going to do it in the vice versa way, though. We used to do the news first off and then interview secondly, and we're going to try it the other way around. But before we get to all that, just as always, things up top. Really scared this Thursday. They have on JTE from the Movie Trivia Schmodown, Little Evil himself of the Finstock Exchange. Really excited for the boys to get him on. Tomorrow on Spin from the Reel, you have myself and Chris joined by the one and only Suge Knight 323. We're going to have a great time with Suge talking about the last week's matches and what the heck is going on with the quirky and last and certainly not least, got Wrestle Reel this Friday. Or is it this Friday this week or is it another day this week?
I mean, it'll be Friday. I think it's going to be pre-recorded with just life. But yeah, super duper excited. Yes, and Chris Anthony Lopez, we do need more potential hashtags. So Nick Body Armor, I don't even know. I just really like this stuff. It tastes delicious. I was never a coconut guy, but now I am. So fun fact.
There's some funny line with coconut from a movie that's slipping my head right now.
Come on. Always on the fly here at Real Entertainment. We're all just
well...
But without further ado.
Yes,
are you thinking about this? We have a special guest today in our return to format. And if you are here and you want to I'll be saying this throughout. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. They pop up on the screen and we can share them with the viewer. But without further ado, he's my brother. You might know him. I love him. Mr. Nate Muhlbach. Or as I know, casual. I think that she might have spelled that wrong, but
casual Nate Muhlbach.
Wrong. Hi, my name is Nick, by the way. Anyways, Nate Muhlbach, he's a handsome dude, I guess. And Chris Anthony Lopez, we love you. I know that it's funny because
there we go. There we go.
There we go. Hi, Maddie. So we it's funny because Chris is in the comments for this episode, and Nathan, the first thing that he tells me is he's like, "Oh man, I really wanted to
be on with Chris.
Have Chris on with us,
I did.
But it's okay. We're here right now, and super duper excited to have you on, Nathan. Mm-hmm. It says Nate right there, but I know him as Nathan Muhlbach, and so does Matt for the most part. But you're here today to talk about acting and scoring. So yes. I guess we could start off with the scoring thing, because I think that, I mean, when it comes to the filmmaking side of things, as of right now, that's what you do most, but you've had plenty of different acting jobs and stuff like that across the bat. So what do you like about film scoring?
The idea of being able to complement a scene has always been really cool to me. And plus, I feel that the idea of a score being in a film is very, it's kind of underrated in a way, you know? It's not a very, like, I don't know. It's not an aspect that people really think about when it comes to film scoring. So I've always thought that was pretty cool, and just kind of getting the experience, because I mean I started off with music before I did anything. But yeah, I always thought it was just really cool being able to piece a scene together.
And when it comes down to the film scoring side of things, how did you start off when it came to your film scoring?
When it came off to the film scoring, I was starting off with the short films that I did with you. So the 48-hour stuff that you were doing, the tiny projects that you would do with Troubadour Films. But I first got like my big experience, I feel like when I made my best work and I was able to like learn the most, was probably A Shattered Diamond. It was just a lot longer of a process, and the idea of being able to work with a whole feature-length film. I mean, because it's not just like a 5-minute segment that you're watching. You're watching like a whole hour and a half of content. And on top of that, you're also helping create the emotion that people are going to be feeling and seeing with these characters. And I always thought that was just wonderful.
Awesome to hear. So acting wise, because the acting thing is something that you're new to and something that you want to be able to get into when it comes to your filmmaking style of things, because the scoring side of things, I don't know, Matt, if you had any questions when it came to scoring at all.
No, just keep going.
So
getting hella distractions over here.
No, you're good.
At the Comics household.
You're good. So I mean, and it's funny though, because Matt has that huge connection when it came to your first real big acting thing. Now, the 48s were a big thing that Matt and I had done, but Star Wars: The Rise of Ren. When it came to screen, is something that a lot of people forget that you were involved with, because they kind of see you at the beginning,
see your brother.
Right, and then they see me and they're like, was that your brother, or did you just hire somebody who is like really, really, really close to looking like you?
You know, until you mentioned that, I wouldn't have even thought about that.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
it's crazy. I would not have thought about that.
You were one of the extra scenes that we added later on was important when it came to the younger version of you. And what was it like starting off with these short films and then going into Rise of Ren? And where would you like to see the acting side of things continue to go?
Well, I mean, honestly, it wasn't until recently that I thought that I really wanted to get into acting. I mean, there was movies that I watched that I really looked up to, like La La Land. Like, I loved La La Land, and I still do. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And the character Sebastian really opened my eyes, because you can combine music and acting. And I was like, wow, that's really cool, because they basically put some sort of Broadway production, like the idea of like a Broadway production, into a film. And I loved it. I mean, from the first moment that I saw it, I was like, wow, I would love to do that sometime. And then like years later, it was during this like big quarantine and stuff that I was rewatching Her, the movie with Joaquin Phoenix. And I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to be able to portray a character and make the audience like just like understand what's going on. And it was really cool with that movie, because in the beginning it was the film score that really grabbed my attention. And then the idea behind how simplistic the idea of the movie is, but it's also just like so much bigger once you add the acting and the music to it. And I found that to be just like amazing. But yeah, I mean, when I did Rise of Ren, I mean, I wasn't really thinking anything of it when it came to me being like an actor or anything. It was more of, oh, look at that. It was more of just helping you guys out with what you needed to do. And I mean, it was a very cool experience. I remember waking up super early and going to the metro parks and like having to like hop over that like bridge thing to get to like the little areas. And I remember like little details from it. And I always thought that was like super cool. Like the whole idea of scouting. And it was a great experience, of course. But yeah, I mean, in the future, I would love to want to be characters. I don't know. I want to like study the different characters and being able to like read up on everything and just understand what the idea behind how to create a different personality for a role, just because they're not supposed to see you when you're acting. They're supposed to see the character that you're supposed to be. So just becoming a character and being able to, I don't even know, just like create something. I love the idea of just like everyone working together and creating something. But that's what I thought was super cool about Shattered Diamond. When you and Lou were working together, there was like always you two coming up with like different ideas and stuff. But there was also like everyone else that like took their time out of their day to come and help you guys with like anything that you guys needed. And like the finished product, just being able to like think about how like this took so many people to like create. I love that. I don't know.
I mean, that's honestly one of the best things when it comes to film, even when you're watching from afar, and that's partly why I love this, because you get to understand what goes into everybody's mindsets. You get to talk to people, understand how they're feeling, when you're talking to a writer, you get to understand what their thought process was. Relationship with an actor, you get to understand how they try to bring it up to an actor and try to convey what they're looking for within the character, in that character. And that's always one of the most fascinating things, honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just, when I saw how hard everyone was working for A Shattered Diamond, I mean, including myself with the score and stuff, just being able to like, just kind of like piece everything together in the end, I think I knew that I wanted to continue with this. And I really just became super intrigued by like movies and stuff. I mean, Nick knows this, but like I've bought probably almost 200 Blu-rays, and I've watched almost every single one of them.
As much as I'm at your house, I'm pretty sure I know this.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. Is he's different when it comes to like how I get like 500 DVDs.
Yeah, where Nick is, I got it just to own it, and maybe I'll eventually watch it. We have Nathan, who's I gotta watch it now,
and he watches it like the second that he.
As soon as I come home with it, I have to like, I watch it like 1 to 3 times for the most part if I really like the movie, just to study specific characters and the music and the different things like that. And that's why I think there's so much opportunity for people to grow like for themselves, but there's also opportunity to create something really special. And there's also so many different genres out there. I mean, like I would love to get into drama and everything, you know? I mean, drama is like what I watch the most, I feel like, but I would be willing to try everything just because I think there's opportunity in every single little thing that we do as human beings and also as creators. So,
I mean, you see it all the time when a lot of times there's not really one genre.
Oh, Matt, we lost you for a second there, buddy.
Thank you. No, nowadays you see a lot more, you're seeing it a lot more, that there's not really any one genre when it comes to a film. There's almost like a combination of them. And I mean, for example, Freaky, that was more recently. That's a horror comedy. Coming to America, that is a romantic, like, then again, rom-coms is its own thing, but it's a real love story and it's a comedy at the same time, and it's a coming of age story all at once. Absolutely. I mean, and that's to be an actor, that's got to be some of the most interesting things to deal with, because you're getting to explore all these different emotions within just one project.
Yeah. I also like, I've never been a big reader personally until like the last few months. Like I've been reading a ton and there's so much to study up on. And so you can watch all of the movies in the world, but when you pick up the book that the movie is based around, there's so much more like detail in a way.
Yes.
You can study up upon. And I just find that so like amazing. Like right now, I recently finished watching Normal People. It's a limited series. It's on Hulu. I highly recommend it. I thought it was spectacular. But I'm reading the book right now, And the show already is like extremely detailed and like graphic, and the book is like 10 times more just like detailed. And watching like interviews with the two leads, they talk about how they were able to take that and create their own versions of the characters while still having the aspects of everything. And I found that just so fascinating.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's so interesting to even see like what it comes to the script of a movie, even what actually gets put forward, because I know like the Joker script is the perfect example of that. And I still need to read through it all the way. But I mean, even just from experiences alone, things that are improvised that you never know are improvised until you actually read what you are seeing on the script. Or just things that are added to that point when you're on set. Because I mean, the story behind the Joker script is always that and Maddie, if you're still watching this, because we were supposed to watch Joker today.
It's subject someone to a bad film. Kidding.
Oh,
kidding,
shush.
kidding.
It's just so interesting to see what the actual script was and what actually got put onto screen. And a lot of that was even just Phoenix when it came to his acting, changing things. Like the bathroom dance scene was supposed to be completely different, but they went with the dancing scene because he was so incredible in what he did. Are you a fan of people kind of taking their own reins, or are you more of a fan of sticking to what was written?
Was that a question for me or Matt? I'm sorry.
You.
Okay.
Don't worry about him asking me questions.
Okay. Yeah, I think I like when people do their own thing. You know, of course, like stick to the idea of the script. And if you're working with someone that's like very specific with what they wrote, I mean, of course, go with what they wrote. But I mean, when you're working on becoming a character, you're changing your whole personality in a way. I mean, you're not just reading a piece of paper and being like, okay, so for this specific amount of time, for this 3 minutes that we're going to be shooting, I have to be like this. Like when you're off camera, for the most part, depending on the character that you're playing, you have to stick with it. And it could be for months. It could be for a few days. Like it could be for anything. So on top of like, I mean, you're hiring someone because they have a good audition, but like they're going to change during the whole entire process. And you kind of have to like go with the flow with everything. Like there was a lot of, I just watched there's a really good documentary about Heath Ledger and how in his movies, he became his character so much that he didn't break character until they were done shooting, except for like specific moments. Like they were talking about like in The Dark Knight, he would be like his chaotic Joker, and then out of nowhere he would be like drinking coffee with everyone, like still have like the voice and everything. Like, so you're still, that whole time he was the Joker, you know, and he was having fun with it. But on top of it, you're doing something psychologically to your mind that you have to understand that this person's going through something just like the character is. So there's going to be like a difference in how, like there's going to be a big difference in like the beginning of how the person acts and how the end of it. You kind of have to just like let things happen, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, when it comes to that subject of respecting the script, you got to look at, and this is just throughout acting in all of its forms, some of the most well-known moments throughout musicals or film were improvised. One being, two examples, one being the Harrison Ford saying "I know" to Leia saying "I love you" in Empire Strikes Back. Another one more recently being in Hamilton during the song "What Did I Miss?" France, that wasn't in there. They just added that.
Say that again.
Like in Hamilton, when Lafayette, France, that wasn't in there originally.
Mm-hmm.
That was ad-libbed, and it worked so well that they kept it in there.
Right.
So I definitely understand where you're coming from on the fact of respect what is written, but at the same time, you gotta sometimes take risks and make it your own.
Absolutely. Like another thing is, I was asked a question like that, pretty similar to what Nick asked when I was taking an acting class at the college that I go to, and instantly I started thinking about Christian Bale. I mean, when you think about it, the roles that he takes on, I mean, body transformations and like, I mean, for one of his characters, he like didn't sleep for like so long because his character was supposed to like not, or it was supposed to be like exhausted, like terrified to like fall asleep. Like the ideas that like he did, his method acting, I can't even imagine like how that would change a human being. But like I want to try it so bad at some point, because when I saw Vice, I was like, oh my god, this is insane. But like I would love this. I mean, you're becoming that character. You're really becoming that character. Christian Bale for that period of time was Dick Cheney.
Scary.
It's just kind of bizarre.
I mean, and like, you know, I think it's gotten to the point now where he can't even do that for a role anymore because it's so detrimental to his health.
It destroys his body. He's done with it.
Yeah, it's so detrimental to his health. And I pick apart Vice in a loving way because I do enjoy that movie.
Watched it literally hours before the Academy Awards, and he's like,
"Oh yeah,
my opinions on everything have changed."
Oh, for sure, because I thought that. I mean, and I listen. Do I like Rami? I'm not going to act like I don't like Rami as Freddie Mercury, but like Christian Bale in Vice. Yes, I mean Christian Bale in Vice was nuts. And that scene where he's like talking to the camera, it scared the crap out of me, and it's not supposed to. Well, maybe it is for this.
No, it is because it's supposed to be disconcerting.
Oh, it was hella disconcerting. But throwing himself into that role. I mean, like the guys on Wolf of Wall Street doing the fake drugs in order to spark something, and like I don't even know if they were realizing how bad those fake drugs were to put in their body, but they were still doing it. And like talk about getting into a role. Wolf of Wall Street is just absolutely insane for that.
Yeah, so was Dallas Buyers Club that same year.
Yes, yeah.
That was bizarre. Like the interviews that Jared Leto and Matthew McConaughey have talking about like working with like coaches for their diets and stuff like that. But on top of that, like their body, like the way they moved and stuff like that was completely different. And just the way that they talk about it is like so crazy, but it's also rewarding in a way.
So when you speak of McConaughey, and obviously I have a connection to you as your brother to know that you enjoy his work, you have his book and stuff like that.
I do.
When it comes down to actors that you enjoy and admire, like actors, actresses, talents, just in general overall, who are some that come to mind?
Oh, instantly Ryan Gosling and Jake Gyllenhaal. Those are my, I think, top two, at least at the moment, when it comes to just like inspiration. I always somehow get some sort of inspiration from them, no matter what it is. It could be like appearance. It could be movies to watch at like when I don't know what to watch. It could be just like while I'm out in public. I just randomly think about like, I wonder how like these people are like getting ready for their next roles. Those are instantly two that come to mind. But on top of them, Heath Ledger. Just lately, for some reason, I don't know if it's. I didn't even watch a movie of his recently. It was just out of nowhere that I was at work one day, and I'm like, he's just such an interesting guy. You know, like
Knight's Tale.
Yeah, I love Knight's Tale, but he did so much good. You know, like whenever someone talks about him, like they're always just like so proud of what he did. And I always thought that was really cool because on top of that, he was just like amazing in any single thing that he did, like movie wise. So definitely those three for movie actors. But like right now, Paul Mescal, he's an Irish actor. He's pretty much brand new when it comes to projects, but he was from that Normal People show. And the type of work that he's just getting prepared to do is just super cool to me. He seems like a very down to earth guy. So I look up to him when it comes to being a human being, and when it comes to like television. Same with like anyone from the show This Is Us.
Mm-hmm.
I think This Is Us is absolutely spectacular. I think that the way that they write it, the music, the portrayal from the performers is just always super realistic. And I know that it's like, obviously that's what they go for the most part. That's what everyone goes for. You want people to believe your character, but it's so easy to look at something and be like, this is just acting. But when it comes to This Is Us, it's so real, and I love that. So yeah, there's a lot that I look forward to. Same with any project that like Emma Stone does. I'm always super excited. Same with like Natalie Portman or like anyone like that. I always just get very excited because I know they work super hard for what they do, and they're always so proud of their work, and I love that.
So you say Emma Stone. What are your thoughts on Cruella then?
Oh, it's gonna be great.
It looks bonkers.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I think that's her role, honestly.
She sounds very well when it comes down to it. Yeah. Also, just so everybody knows, everybody who's watching right now, if you have any questions for Nathan or Nate, I'm going to say Nathan. I'm sorry. If you have any questions for Nathan about acting or film scoring, please leave them in the comments, and we'll pop them up on screen and we'll get them answered for you. So film roles that you would like to take, things that you would like to do. Obviously, you said drama was something that you're interested in, but you're open to doing different roles overall. So what is something that you would like to do when it comes down to your acting or scoring, even if there's a specific type of film that you would like to score as well?
Honestly, I would like to do just like a super weird out there score, like kind of like a mixture of Stir Crazy, like I did for the film that you and Lou did, mixed with like a Shattered Diamond. Because like you have like the synthesizers, you have like the acoustic aspects, but you also have like the different tones and different like weird chords. Because I tried creating weird notes to make an uncomfortable feel for the person, and it was cool because the other day, one of my friends messaged me and said, "Hey, I listened to the score for Stir Crazy that you did. Your brother posted it. It's so cool." And you haven't even released Stir Crazy yet. So like being able to like know that like someone like listened to that and like didn't think it was completely just like me like putting all my fingers onto the keyboard and hoping it sounds okay, because that's just it's a mess, because that's the idea of the film. But like if I could do something like what they did for Blade Runner, the more recent one or the original. I love the synthesizers in that. I would love to be able to use all the equipment I have just to create stuff. But top 3 scores. Okay. First one is the score for Her. Arcade Fire did it. I think it's spectacular.
Very good. It is.
It's super good. Very well put together. On top of just like, even if you're not like a person that wants to watch the movie, just because it's a little bit of an odd movie, it's not for everyone. You can still sit down and just enjoy the score, which I think
everybody is in love with their phones. We might as well just consider that a normal movie at this point.
No, I can't say that. I was about to say something not allowed to say yet.
But the idea behind that one was really cool. I love that score. Second would have to be La La Land. I think everything they did for that was amazing. Same with like, you have La La Land and Whiplash in the same boat for me, because I'm a huge jazz fan. Yeah. So like Chazelle, anything he does, I'm all for it. Even with like the ending of Whiplash with just like the score with like Caravan, was so good. But yeah, those two, and then more recently, my brother got me into the If Bell Streets Could Talk. That one it's a perfect score. If I ever were to
great
do
taste
something,
in music. Yeah.
if I ever were to do something involving a drama and I ended up getting the opportunity to work with strings, between that and the Moonlight score, because I think, if I'm correct, I think they're made by the same person, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
Nicholas
Patel.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of my favorites. He did Vice as well.
Oh, did he?
And an underrated one. He did Battle of the Sexes. A score nobody talks about because nobody talks about it.
That's a great movie, though. I just think those two scores, though, the use of strings are just like very calming. When I can like go driving and have my windows down and like listen to a score and I feel like I'm in the movie, that's like the greatest feeling in the world for me. And recently that's been the If Bell Streets Can Talk. Because like I watched it, I have watched it and I did like it a lot. But the score like really is what like grabbed my attention. I was like, oh, this is just perfect.
I'm a bit obsessed with that film, so I appreciate that. Hearing that playing every 5 minutes from my room has really inspired you. Because we do live right next to each other, and like I'll be playing a score, he'll be playing a score, and I feel like eventually they're just gonna mix together, and we can steal those ideas and create something. But
I mean, that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's a film score. It's like, you know, I tell people all the time,
can make or break a movie. That's
it's true. It's true.
Absolutely. And it's going to be completely empty if you don't use it correct.
Yes.
It's very odd when you watch a movie and the music does not match up with it. It's just like I watched there's a short film that I watched the other day. I'm not going to give the title or anything just because, but the score was all synthesizers and it sounded great. I mean, it was a really cool sounding score, but it was a drama and it just did not work. Oh, wait, another score, The Social Network.
Yes.
I was just about to say, The Social Network use synthesizers the entire time.
Well, but they do, it's a different way of using a synthesizer.
I know.
You have like a Blade Runner type synthesizer, and then you have Social Network where Trent Reznor used it as an undertone. So you, on top of it, you had the piano and like this soothing sounds and everything and the different sound effects he used, but the undertone for the most part, when you're seeing like the dramatic scenes, I mean, even the intro, I think one of my favorite scores of all time is Hand Covered Bruises or Hand Covered Bruise. It's the first song in the film when Jesse Eisenberg is running. And it goes on for like 3 minutes and it's super simplistic, but it's basically just an undertone and like a really simplistic piano over it. And it sounds so good because, I mean, that scene, there's not a ton going on in the scene, so you don't want it to be overwhelming. So I always thought that one was really cool. And he also did the same, type of score for, what was it? I think, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, because Trent Reznor also did that one with Fincher. And
Soul recently.
Yeah, he did Soul. Soul's a really, really good one. But same with the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, he did all the undertones. And the undertone idea inspired a lot for A Shattered Diamond. Like a lot. So just that first score from Social Network kind of was like a game changer for me. Just because when it came to Shattered Diamond, me, Lou, and Nick were like not 100% sure what kind of sound we were going for. And I mean, for a long time. Yeah. I mean, and it changed. So I mean, I wrote like a bunch of different sounding things, and what fit really well was when I kind of was inspired by that intro song from Social Network. So I think I gave like 6 scores there, but there you go.
I forgot we were even still answering that question, honestly.
Right now, my favorite composer, I'd have to say, is probably Ludwig Göransson. Just how vast his just how vast his range is, on top of just how iconic some of his scores have become. Like I listened to the Black Panther soundtrack, and when you hear him talk about all the different things he did to make sure it sounded authentic as possible, or you look at the Creed soundtrack, the Creed
really
score.
good one too.
Like he did both Creed films. The Mandalorian speaks for itself. Those are three different genres that you wouldn't expect. Especially because they all sound nothing alike. Like, I'll say this: I love John Williams, but John Williams, a lot of his stuff sounds similar,
very similar.
So
yeah, I agree. Another one which I don't think people really, think about this one when they think about scores, but I recently came across the score for Room, the Brie Larson movie, and I was blown away by it. And I haven't seen that movie in like 3 years, something like that. And it just came up in my recommendations on YouTube while I was working on homework one day. And I listened to it, and I was like, this is super good. The Tenet score is awesome. I agree. That's a really weird one though. For the most part, that one's just sound effects and like synthesizers. That one's just like, that one like was shocking. But I did like that one.
Yeah. We actually do have a question for you, Chris, and it's to the both of you, which is, how is it collaborating with your brother?
I could start it. Okay. So it's interesting living in the same house as a person. Oh, my bad. It's interesting living in the same house as a person who is working with you. Oh, he's just in the backseat.
I was just giving you to the floor. Giving you guys a focus.
The disembodied voice of Matt Thomas is currently in the screen. It's interesting working with somebody who lives in the same house as you, because it's easy to just look at them and go, "Why aren't you working on it?" And I've fallen into that trap before. I'm not going to lie. But Nathan does incredible work for us, and I'm incredibly, incredibly, incredibly proud of what he does when it comes down to the projects that he does. My goal as a filmmaker is, and when it comes to the score, is as a person who enjoys scores as much as they do, I want to be able to turn it on the radio and listen, or just like in general, what you were saying with the driving thing, or while I'm editing or something like that. And there's no doubt in my mind, the Shattered Diamond score, the Stir Crazy score, and how much he's grown from working on the 48s, because the 48s a lot of the time we're like, here's 6 here's 6 like songs, put it together with the movie and see what works. I mean, even when you were doing your Renaissance Fair stuff for one of them, it was like, here's 3 songs, hopefully one of them works. And to see where things have grown, it's just like, I'm super proud of you. I'm super thankful to be able to have such talented family members in general. And it's a pleasure to be able to work with your brother, because you could throw him wherever you need. Nathan has done sound for me on projects before. Nathan has acted in things when we needed him the most. Like, take, for example, and Matt can attest to this, when we were doing the Jerry Pop one, we were lucky enough for the 48 to draw mockumentary. And when the crew was just Matt and I, we were like, well, we got to kind of throw whatever we can at the wall and see what sticks. And when Nathan stepped in and acted for us, it was fantastic. It's just something
once again, as a younger version of Nick.
Yes, he's very good at playing the younger version of me. I need to grow out my facial hair a little bit to make it make more sense at this point.
Hey, you're starting to get there.
I know. I haven't cleaned my face up in a while, but I'm just saying, like, it's incredibly rewarding to see. Our dad always kind of pushed forward, like, working together and stuff like that on projects. And I at first was like, oh, yeah, I know we're all trying to kind of do our own thing, but to find something to be collaborative on, Thomas with his artwork, and Nathan with his music, it's just like it's and Emily with her undenying support for what we do and stuff like that. It's just incredible to be able to have that in general. So that's where my stance is on. when it comes to working with your brother?
What about you, Nathan?
He sucks. I hate him. Oh, sorry.
No, I mean, I agree 100%. I feel the exact same way. I mean, what it comes down to is most siblings don't get to do this. I mean, obviously most siblings have support for each other, but like most siblings don't get to work together and create a whole film or create opportunities for each other. And I think that's really cool. I mean, but what it comes down to is us both understanding that like stuff takes time and we're going to be there to support each other, to get each other opportunities. And I mean, the other day, for example, Nick was telling me about these ways that I can start auditioning for stuff. And I wouldn't have known how to do that without him being able to be like, yeah, he has experience in this stuff that I want to do, you know? So what it comes down to is whenever he needs music, I'll be there for him. And if I need an opportunity or like a connection, I'll be able to go to him. And I mean, we're there for each other. And I think that's what the best part is. It's always nice being able to see as things go on, like during the first screening for A Shattered Diamond, sitting next to him and Lou, and them just being like so proud of the fact that like, I mean, their movie is on a screen. And you don't get to say that a lot, you know? And there's millions and millions of people that want to make films, you know? Just like there's millions of people that want to be teachers and that want to be musicians. And like everyone wants to do the same stuff. But there's only like a handful of people that get that opportunity to show their work and do the stuff that they did, or the stuff that they do. And for Nick and I, we both had very supportive family members, and our parents were just so amazing with what they did for us, making us connections. And like, for me, my dad got me so many shows starting at a young age, which helped me a lot with gaining connections. But really being able to just like look over and see how proud Nick and Lou were about the fact that A Shattered Diamond was playing on a screen and people were watching it and like enjoying it. That right there is probably such a proud moment for me. I mean, even though like my focus while that was happening was the music, I mean, their focus was everything. So I'm sure it was an extremely overwhelming experience, but just being able to know how proud that they were, I mean, that just made me very happy and very proud. So about the same thing that he said.
So I guess when it comes down to it, you know, we've all all of us have shared in an experience of everybody for Rise of Ren. Everybody's in the room. You know, we're watching what we created. Yeah. You know, you with your acting in that, Matt and I with the directing, the writing, the special effects, just everything. What is it like? What is the experience for you when it comes to watching what you created? Because I know for Matt and I at Rise of Ren, at least for me, I was just kind of like, shit, how is this what's gonna happen that this is gonna go wrong or something like that? But like,
no, you and I were just basically sitting with weighted breath that night. Yes, I remember,
to get it just like it's done, it's screened. So like, what is it like seeing? Because you know, you started off at a young age when it came to the 48s of seeing yourself on screen and seeing. I hate to be like, oh my gosh, you got rid of that nervous, jarring feeling early, but like, what is it like seeing something that you came up with, and like, I mean, especially at a young age, that has to be nerve-wracking. Like, what is it like seeing a project that you had done or had been a part of, even if it was just as simple as being in 2 scenes for Rise of Ren and getting to wave around a lightsaber for a little bit, or you know, listening to a score that you did for a Shattered Diamond or a 48, or just even like, you know, obviously you described that feeling of seeing a project that you had done and a person had just contacted you like, oh, hey, I really like what you did. Like, what is that like?
You know, when I was younger and I got to see the Rise of Ren in the theater and everything, it didn't, for me, just because at the moment I didn't really have any clue that I wanted to get into acting. Like I mentioned before, it wasn't really a nerve factor for me. It was, in that sense, it was more of I want to make sure I don't look like an idiot up there because I want to make sure your project, like, you're happy with the outcome, you know? just because like
We were.
obviously there's a big difference between looking at a computer screen and then looking at it on a big screen. So there's like little things that like, I mean, I could have looked completely stupid up there, you know. That's always like my thing, especially with like the 48s and stuff like that, because we would be in like that small crowded theater, like everyone would be like just like excited to see their film and stuff, and then I'd be there like kind of like tapping my fingers, like I hope my skin wasn't like gross or like I hope I didn't have any pimples or anything. Like that was my mindset when I was younger. Counting that might honestly still be how I am. I might be like watching a film in the future and be like, wow, I hope my beard wasn't like dirty or something like stupid like that. It's because like that's always going to be my mindset with anything that I do. I mean, even with like I took photos yesterday with Donnie, and like the whole time I was like, I hope this like the sun making my eyes squint isn't making me look like confused right now. Like that was like my mindset the whole entire time, even though like it was an amazing experience and I loved it. I was just kind of like super unsure about everything in the back of my head when I like see the finished product. But when it came to A Shattered Diamond, I was shaking just because like I've never listened to the score and surround sound.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, this was my first time doing the undertones and stuff. So like it was a situation where like I was watching it and I'm like, okay, I know I had a little fib here. I hope it's not too noticeable. And I'll be listening to it and I would be like, oh wow, that worked. Like I'm proud of that. So it would be like me like being very unsure about everything, and like the same thing when as I was younger, I'd be like tapping my fingers and like tapping my fingers and like being nervous and stuff. And then finally, like when it happens, there's some sort of relief, but it's also like very rewarding knowing like you created that. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it. But like I'm always gonna look at the screen at myself and critique everything that I do.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I think everyone does that, you know. I'm never gonna be. I was telling this to my friend the other day. I know that I'm not the only person that feels like this, but I'm never gonna be 100% confident in anything that I do because there's always gonna be a little thing to critique.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm never gonna be. I'm gonna be proud, but I'm never gonna be satisfied unless something drastically changes in the future. I will be very proud of.
Ignore me.
I'll be very proud of the work that I do, but I'll never be 100% satisfied because there's always something that you can grow with.
We're talking behind the scenes just to make sure that like when Matt is muted, that like obviously I can carry on with the conversation, and I said something stupid. Yeah, and I agree. It's like it's hard because like for Rise of Ren was I don't always want to put myself in front of the screen when it comes to my acting, and then
that was the one thing you were like, this is mine.
I know, and at that point, that's like, hey Nick, you're starring in this, and I'm like, okay, it's 37 pages left.
No. You were like, I want to star in this. I'm like, when I told you it was about, okay.
I'm like,
and
I'll
then
take
I told
it.
you the
Why
length.
not?
And then I told you the length.
That's a lot. So like I couldn't imagine what it's gonna eventually be like when like everybody's gonna get that opportunity to be in like a big feature film, which by the way, Nathan is available for acting. So if anybody in the comments or is watching this in the future wants to contact him, also my mic just grazed right against my hat. If anybody wants to contact him in the future for roles, he's available. Young, handsome, blah. And
absolutely, I want any opportunity that I can get.
He'll dress up in a chicken suit for you.
I will dress up in a chicken suit. I will dress up like whatever you need me to. I want to act.
Yes.
I just love it. I love the feeling of being able to act.
I will also dress up in a chicken suit for this.
Yeah, we'll do it together and we'll dance and everything.
Yeah.
Make a two-person chicken suit.
I don't know. That's
you can be Big Bird together. All Nathan's
there we go.
We could be Big Bird.
We could be Big Bird. I'll be Big Bird. That reminds me of just a very haunting. I just realized Nathan in a chicken suit reminds me of a haunting video I'll show you one day, Matt. And it's just like, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. but like it's just a weird, bizarre Snapchat I got one.
Yes.
But yeah, Matt. Sorry, go on.
I was because Nathan was talking about just watching projects currently, and there's a question that just kept getting circled there and didn't get asked, so I'm just going to ask it. Do you ever go back and look at the stuff that you did when you were younger and be like, oh, I do this differently now?
You know, okay, so the other day I spent 2.5 hours rewatching the production of Little Mermaid that I was in. And that was my first opportunity ever getting like a real lead role. And like I'm still so proud of it, you know, just being like how happy that show made people makes me so proud. But I watched it the other day and I was
DK's
like,
a big
oh my
fan.
gosh, this is rough. Like everyone else was like so good. Everyone else was like amazing, but I had like a really bad voice crack at one point, and I'm like, this is the one that everyone's gonna. This is the copy that everyone has. But like part of that also makes me like extremely happy that is the version that people have, only because when I watched it in the future, I'll know how much I've grown. Because like even just like the year after that, I played Shrek, and that was a completely different experience. I mean, I had grown so much in that year, like my voice has gotten deeper, and like I was able to like stretch my voice, so I was able to hit more roles. And on top of that, I had to wear like 40 pounds of prosthetics, it felt like, even though I mean it wasn't really 40 pounds, but like it felt like so much because you have to mix that with like the sweat and like all the lights and stuff like that. But it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. So I went back and rewatched that, and then I still felt the exact same way. I was like, oh my God, I'm rough. But like, look at the performance that this person's putting on. This is amazing. So I'll always, this goes back to like what we were saying before. Maybe I'll put on like an amazing performance in people's eyes and I'll be proud of it, but I'll always be able to critique it in every single way.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as we're done with this call, I'm going to end up going back to watch Rise of Ren, because I haven't seen that in like 3 years, it feels like. So yes, man, I do try to go back. But you know, I don't have a ton of stuff out there, you know, so I don't really have a ton to go back and watch other than those things. I mean, I watched the Jerry Pop one. I think with Nick at one point.
That's a key thing you have that you can look back on. You have your music that you have a chance to look back on and think.
Yeah. Oh, I do that all the time. I was re-editing the Shattered Diamond score the other day.
Wait, what?
Just because I was bored. It was just like the intro track of the movie, I had it in Audacity and I was like clipping it and trying to like do different things with it. Now, I mean, I'm not going to like change the score now for the movie because I like.
Have you ever heard of a composer's cut of a movie? No, just kidding.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God. If the composer
will give you the first.
Because we would have like 3 hours of content. That's how crazy it is, because
the
like
Muhlbach cut, but it's not my cut. It's like the Snyder cut, but it's the Muhlbach cut instead.
Yeah,
but it's actually, but it's like this. But the name on it is not Nick Muhlbach. It's Nathan Muhlbach.
It's like, just all audio.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. I love being able to go back to stuff that I wrote. Like there was this recording that I recorded like 4 or 5 years ago of just a guitar riff that I did, and it was like a really bad recording, because I was just starting off with recording. So it was muffled and distorted, but like my playing sounded good on it. So I'm like, I have to make this work, because I don't think I'm going to be able to do this again. So, I went back and I edited that the other day. I mean, anything that I have on this laptop audio wise, I try to work with at some point.
And reminder to everybody out there, because I'm about to expose Nathan for a second. When it comes to, comments and questions and stuff like that, if you have any questions and you want it to be answered by Nathan or anybody on screen, please leave them and we'll get them popped up there. Nathan was describing to me an old YouTube video that he got called out for and exposed for by a friend when he was younger.
Yes. Okay.
And would you go back and fix that one?
I will explain the video now that you mentioned it.
It's just so funny. It's just a story that needs to be told.
So when I was younger, my friend and I had a YouTube page. And it was, I think this was like 5th grade, something like that. Maybe. Yeah, it was definitely like, it was elementary school. And I was seeing that Nicholas was doing YouTube. So at the time I was like, I want to do YouTube. I'm going to be a YouTuber too. And I decided I had like a little camcorder that I got for Christmas that shot in black and white when it was outside in the dark. So it's kind of like a night vision thing. And I went outside one night and I recorded, the video was called Nathan Slam Dunks. And I put like one of those like Fisher Price like tables that they have for like kids outside right next to our hoop. And I would like stand up on the table and do dance moves. So it looked like I was floating in the air. And then I would make the basket and I posted on YouTube. And this video was probably like 4 minutes long because the audio for the video was Strange Clouds by B.O.B. and Lil Wayne. It was the instrumental for it. And it was like the extended version. So that happened. And it was the whole thing. So I'd like dance and stuff like that. And I think like the John Wall dance was around or something like that at that time. And that was really popular. Yeah, that one. And yeah, I released that video, and after like 7 minutes of it being posted, my friend called me and he's like, you weren't really dunking. You realize that, right? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you can clearly tell there was a table in the shot, and it had like 4 views. And I was like, okay, I'm taking this down. I don't think I posted a video.
I just had to because that's a part of like growing up and realizing like all of your
like, I was super into Take Care by Drake, the album, when I was younger. I mean, I still am. I think
everybody still is.
Everyone loves it still. It's one of the most perfect albums ever recorded, in my opinion. But like, I tried to do a cover of Take Care by Drake and Rihanna, and I posted the wrong version of it. I got through it once, and I was like I said before, in elementary school. But I posted the version before it, and the problem with that was I said the first 3 words and I coughed, and then I got embarrassed, and I stood there for the whole song. And then I paused it because I was like, okay, maybe I can like start back up at some point and then like it'll be good. And I never did. And then I paused it and then I re-recorded it after, but I posted the wrong one. So it was just me standing there while Take Care by Drake played. And I remember like the basement being like a complete mess. And
real quick, when isn't the basement a complete mess? Let's be honest.
That's true. That's true. But it was
hug you right now.
Yeah, I mean,
to be fair, most of the time it's normally either Nick's friend's fault, your friend's fault, or Thomas's friend's fault.
Well, yeah. Right. I mean, I have all my equipment down there.
I have a lot of our table downstairs, because the chicken video I was describing earlier, I remember is like filled with like film equipment and like music equipment. So like I do need to go downstairs and I need to clean it. But see, now you're exposing me. I got to expose you, and now you get to expose you.
I mean, but the thing is, you have to be able to laugh about things that embarrassed you in the past. You know, you can't be super sensitive and be like, oh my God, that's still so embarrassing. Like, I'm not going to sit here and like freak out over the fact that I made a basketball video. I mean, it's a badass video. You know, I
just want to see the dance moves. I want that video to exist so I can watch
I wish the video still existed, because I was looking for it the other day, and not because I was trying to take it down, but simply because I wanted to watch it, because that's straight up good content.
Uh-huh.
I mean, to be fair, I go back and look at my senior year show choir videos with the years that Dave Cox.
Yes.
I'm like, oh God.
That's the thing. You have to be able to look at that stuff and be like, you know, this was a moment in my life, and I think it's hysterical.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I mean, oh my gosh, the recordings, my first time recording covers, my voice was like super high and cracking. And like, I still have some of those. They sound awful, but I keep them because I was like, wow, I was really a little boy back then. I think I was like 13 and I tried doing like an all-time low cover or something like that.
Oh, so we're talking like, Fedora Muhlbach.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was the best time.
Fedora Muhlbach.
That's my contact photo for him.
Yeah. But like, I was such an awkward kid. I mean, I'm still awkward. Everyone's awkward. You know, everyone's awkward. But like, I was an extremely like goofy kid. I still am a goofy dude, but like, yes. I'm proud of the fact that I have become a goofy man instead of a goofy kid. And being able to watch those old videos would have been great, because I would have laughed my head off. You know, I would have loved.
Nathan, we don't keep it.
Oh, I know. But like, I would have loved to just be able to like, watch that stuff like that. Or like when Nick and I did like a sibling tag, and I touched my hair like 48 times or something like that. And
That
I
was
think
his
that's
thing.
hysterical. Oh, it's so funny.
Remember when you used
Oh.
even if they just brushed
Say
it?
that again. Sorry.
I said, remember when he used to hate when people just accidentally touched his hair?
Oh yeah, he was
Yeah.
very
I was a
protective.
little diva.
Yeah, you've grown a lot. We can say that.
Yeah. No, I mean,
beard, but
love,
if people touch the beard, no, I'm just kidding.
people touch the beard. They're also touching my face. So that's a little weird, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the thing is this. I like the idea of being able to know how much I've grown personally and how much I've sprouted out of my shell. It makes me a lot more pleased with my life. I mean, because how would life be if you can't laugh at awkward situations that have happened to you? I mean, that'd be miserable.
Well, Nathan, we thank you very much for joining us for this hour of real interviews and kicking off what will be plenty and plenty more of these. If anybody wants to find you on social media, not to say that you're not sticking around for this news portion.
Yeah, we always leave that up we're going to leave that up to the guests.
And I know you want to talk about some of the things that we're talking about.
Yeah, I'll stay.
But where can people find you on social media, and how can they contact you about potential acting or scoring opportunities?
Anywhere. Facebook, if you just look up Nate Muhlbach.
There's not a lot of them with that last name.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them.
And trust me, he adds everybody. There's funny stories about that as well.
Oh yeah, I'll add you. If you add me on Facebook and you text me and say hello, I will say hi back. We can have a whole conversation. I love talking to people. I really do. I always have. But
Even if it gets them in trouble.
Well, here's the thing: is that we're in the process of. I won't give any names away, obviously, for the people that I work with. But we're at work, and somebody that I work with goes up to me and goes, "Why is Nathan friends with blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "That's a really good question." So she contacts them, and I contact him. Or neither of them know who the hell each other are or anything like that.
I have no idea. But how am I supposed to make connections without being friends with people?
Exactly. No.
Same with social media. Or Instagram. I meant if you shoot me a message on Instagram, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Or
Nate Muhlbach, by the way.
Yeah, Nate Muhlbach. Same thing. Yeah. Say hi. I don't know. I'm always willing to take an opportunity.
And what's your email?
Nathan Muhlbach at hotmail.com.
We will have all of that right now be added to the description below.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Take care of that. But Nathan, thank you so much for kicking off this real interview segments. And now let's get into some news stories, Mr. Matthew.
Yeah, going forward, we're probably only going to do 3 to 5 pieces of news. And pieces of news are kind of interesting because none of them go together. There's a fourth one that I'll mention that I didn't make a graphic for because I was just reminded about it, and that is we got one of Barry Allen's parents cast, and we lost the other one. Billy Crudup is leaving The Flash, and an actress whose name is escaping me was cast to play his mother, Nora Allen.
Now, my question to you is Billy Crudup being recasted?
Yes,
I think that when we were doing
confirmed.
the thing that we were doing yesterday, you showed me the article, and I kind of read it at first because I was like, oh, I knew he was being, or he left the film. But yes, being recasted, Dr. Manhattan will no longer be the father of Barry Allen in this film, unfortunately. We love Billy Crudup here.
So Maribel Verdú is her name. And she is from Y Tu Mama Tambien and Pan's Labyrinth.
Okay.
Cool.
And Billy Crudup had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts with Apple's The Morning Show.
Yeah, he's on that. I keep forgetting.
I mean, I can't even say can you blame him because I've never watched The Morning Show and everything in DC's in flux. So
it does feel like, yeah. I mean, I feel like, and I have a feeling that things are about to get even more complicated when it comes to the DCEU very soon.
Oh.
And it's just like, it's not going to get any better. when it comes down to it. It feels like everything is in flux when it comes to those movies, especially with The Flash, which has, I mean, even though it's in good hands now, has been a complete disaster. It feels like of a film.
Yeah. So, but the do have, and that is first off, the House of Gucci. Lady Gaga and you said what?
I'm so excited for this film.
I'm so excited for this too.
Lady Gaga and Adam Driver star as the Gucci family. Wow. It's Adam Driver. I'll see it for that reason. I love his stuff. So doesn't matter if it's Star Wars, an independent film, I'm there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What is the film, Nathan, that you like that I know Tom likes as well? Not our Thomas, but Tom Zavertnik from the channel.
Are you talking about Adam Driver? Oh,
yeah,
Patterson. Yeah. Patterson's amazing. I think anything that Adam Driver does is amazing, though. I think he's probably one of the best actors we have right now. I think because he's so well-rounded. You know, he went from Star Wars to Patterson to Marriage Story. I mean, it's all completely different movies. I mean, and he can portray anything. So I'm very excited to see what he has to do with this. Plus, on top of it, like the outfits in this movie are going to be amazing.
Yes.
Like, I mean, the Gucci clothes are all, I mean, expensive, obviously, but on top of it, they all look like really interesting. And it's just going to be cool to see Lady Gaga and Adam Driver. And I'm pretty sure Jared Leto's connected to the project in some way as well. To see them all just like in these outfits, just because Jared Leto has already done a few campaigns with Gucci and the outfits are just crazy. I love it. So I'm pretty excited.
And like, you know, the first photos come out of that film. Something that everybody completely forgets is how great of an actress Lady Gaga is.
Absolutely.
She was absolutely fantastic in A Star is Born. And I guess we really haven't seen her much since then. She was in American Horror Story, I believe. But, you know, just to see her continue to grow as an actress in a year that I thought that she could have won Best Actress for A Star is Born. I'm really excited to see her again. There's so much to be excited for this movie. And I guess while Matt is currently away, we could talk about Inside Llewyn Davis a little bit, because that's a movie that I'm very and Maddie saying Lady Gaga is incredible in American Horror Story, something that I have not watched yet.
She is very good
myself. But Inside Llewyn Davis, because I always think about Adam Driver, his one scene in that movie, or I guess he was in a couple, but like the one scene in the movie with Please Mr. Kennedy and the soundtrack for that film. And I know you're a huge fan of it as well.
I love it.
And like Adam Driver is just fantastic in everything that he's in. But for him to have been in such a minuscule scene in this movie just to sing Please Mr. Kennedy, I go back to watching that scene every single time, because that scene looked like it was so much fun to record either way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was, Justin Timberlake, Oscar Isaac, and Adam Driver. If someone were to tell me that was going to be a thing now, and it wasn't, and it never existed, I would not believe him. Just because that's such a weird, when you think of Justin Timberlake, you don't necessarily think of acting right away. He's really a great actor. The stuff that he's done has been very good from what I've seen. But on top of it, like, his music is some of my favorite music ever.
Yes.
So being able to see him, Oscar Isaac, who I love very much as well as an actor and a performer, and then Adam Driver is creating such like a goofy, like, just funny scene. I just love it. And that movie has so many like random messages, that the way that the portrayal of how everything is like kind of like shown throughout the movie it's just a really good movie.
And I mean, like, something that Lou had told me was that it's loosely based on the guy who basically was about to break out before Bob Dylan came around. And just, you know, a lot of the songs are songs that have been previously recorded and are folk songs and stuff like that, like 500 Miles. Right. I absolutely think that film is brilliant. It's a higher. If you like music, if you like slower, I guess sadder music in a way when it comes down to everything that Oscar Isaac is singing in that film. But it's all folk style music. Mumford and Sons was highly involved when it came to the score and such. Carey Mulligan's in it as well, which is another Mumford and Sons connection, I guess. But Carey Mulligan's just fantastic and might win an Oscar this year. It's such a powerhouse Coen Brothers film. And I guess while we're waiting on Matt, directors that you enjoy.
Directors that I enjoy. Damien Chazelle, we mentioned him earlier. I like all three of the movies that were released that were his. And like the projects he did before were all wonderful, very musical based. And since that's where I really started when it came to acting, I love that stuff. Lately, I really, really like David Fincher.
Okay.
I was just rewatching a lot of the stuff that he did. And like Zodiac, I got a copy of that for Christmas, which I'd seen before, but such a brilliant movie. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Fight Club. All of that is just like, I just think movies like that are really, really great.
I actually just recently picked up Fight Club, which if Albert's watching for some reason, I have not seen. And it's like his favorite movie of all time. He's watched it over 100 million.
We'll have to watch that one then. That one's fantastic.
Watch what?
Fight Club.
Matt, you missed some rousing inside Llewyn Davis talk while you were gone.
Oh, God damn it.
And we were trying to continue the conversation, and you brought up Adam Driver, and I'm just like, well, he's goofy in this film. Well, Matt,
you know who else I really like? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but now that I'm thinking about it, just because I've been thinking about this movie all day, I personally think I haven't seen a ton of projects that he's done directing wise, because this might be his only one. But Aaron Sorkin, I think he did awesome with Trial of the Chicago 7. Personally, just because I really like that.
I
think that's one of the few that he's done. It's not his first. It's one of the few that he's done though.
Okay, but yeah, I found the directing in that and just like how everything went with that was so good. So yeah, talking about directors, I hope he does more. I would love to see more from him.
He's heavily involved with television. I mean, he directed or he wrote.
Social Network.
He's more of a writer. Yeah, I was gonna say he wrote Social Network. But
The West
to
Wing.
To see him kind of flare those directing chops. I don't know if he directed Molly's Game. He might have.
I think he did.
Yes, he wrote and directed Molly's Game, which is a highly regarded film as well. Sorkin, you want to see him kind of continue to delve out there because Trial of the Chicago 7 is definitely getting a lot of praise right now.
Yeah.
I always like to see people within different mediums of film kind of get more involved when it comes to the directing side of things.
And someone else I really, really hope to see more from directing-wise in the future, which this might come as a shock for some people, but Alex Wolff. He directed an indie film that he wrote. He also did the score for it and everything. And he also acted in it called The Cat in the Moon. It's a very low budget film. I think it takes place in New York, about a struggling teen that he plays. All of the writing and the way that the movie is portrayed and the music is all very jazzy and bluesy. I think he did an absolutely amazing job for his first project. And he's so confident about it and so like proud of it too. Because when you watch him in interviews, he's like, I'm very proud of this. I mean, some people might not like it. Some people will love it. And that's the best part about it.
I was gonna say, he's only 23.
Yeah. And he's amazing. I mean, he's had such a career with Naked Brothers Band. And I mean, think about that. He's had Naked Brothers Band. He's had Hereditary. He's had the Jumanji movies out of nowhere. I mean, even though they were like smaller roles, he's done so much, but like so little at the same time for his age, because I'm excited to see what else he has coming. Just because he's younger and he does his music and he does everything, I look up to him a ton, and I think that he has so much potential. But yeah,
conversation.
Okay.
Alex Wolf.
Yeah.
We can continue the Alex Wolf conversation while Matt is away again.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Wolf brothers like kind of had a career renaissance later on, in life, because you always, I don't know, I always kind of remember them as the Naked Brothers band as opposed to anything else.
Yeah.
But like Alex Wolf was in Patriots Day. I really like that movie.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think because they've been in a lot of movies together. They've still written music together.
Mhm.
They also did a Naked Brothers band reunion recently.
They did.
Um,
I watched it.
but you know what? I know that Matt will be back soon. Oh boy. So I guess that I will move us forward with the. Oh, hi Matt.
Hello.
What story did you want to move on to next? Because I wasn't sure. I was about to jump into Spielberg myself if you had left, because I'm like, I don't know what the hell to talk about with this last one.
Well, because I wanted Nathan's thoughts on this. We're getting Powerpuff Girls in a dark CW reboot. It's gonna cover their lives as adults and all of the like mental anguish and troubles that they have to go through. You have Dove Cameron playing Bubbles. You have Chloe Bennett playing Blossom. And oh my God, this actress's name, I tried to study it before it. I know she's from the most recent Broadway cast of Hamilton right before the shutdown. Here we go. Yana Peralt is playing Buttercup. So
Wow.
it's supposed
okay.
It's supposed to be about kind of they're in this dark place and they're talking about getting the group back together and all that stuff. So it's different.
I'm excited to see the villains when it comes down to it. Like seeing all these.
Yeah, I was thinking about Mojo Jojo as soon as you said that. I didn't know this was a thing personally, but like, hey, I love the Powerpuff Girls. I really do. So I would be more than happy to see what they do with it. I mean, because the way you're explaining it to me, it's a CW show. CW became very, very popular when it came to Riverdale. I was very skeptical about Riverdale in the beginning. In the first 2 seasons, I thought were very good. After that, I haven't watched it because I've heard bad things. But like,
it's not great. It's still guilty pleasure, if you ask me and Chris. It's pure guilty pleasure.
I love Riverdale. I like the cast. I like the writing for the first 2 seasons. I found that I looked up to a lot of the performances in it. And plus, like, it was all new names. I mean, except for like Cole Sprouse, of course. But like, the comeback of Cole Sprouse, that was cool. I hope that they become successful with this. Just because, I mean, if they're going to continue with these live action things, which is very popular right now, which a lot of people might think that it's not very original, but if they do something different with it, like you were explaining what they're doing with this Powerpuff Girls thing, it's very different. It's very angsty and like dramatic. So maybe it'll be good. I mean, I don't know. That's the way that I see it. And plus, like, all of the actresses that you named there are great. They all have a lot of talent. So I'm sure that they'll do their best with it, and I'm sure it'll be great.
I mean, angsty and dramatic is definitely one way to put it. It's not something you'd expect to hear or see from a Powerpuff Girls show.
Yeah.
It's intriguing to me to say the least. It's like, okay, let's see where this goes. The only reason, and I know Connor and I have talked about this, the only reason I'm even considering giving it a chance is that Diablo Cody is a part of the production team. She is one of the head writers on it. So you're telling me the woman who gave us Juno is a part of it. I will check that out for sure.
Hey, yeah,
it's great.
Because I mean, obviously Juno's a very different project than this. So, but I also I really like seeing that like writers like that are putting their names in like writing for different things like this, because I think that's kind of cool to show that you have that whole repertoire or whatever to be able to create and write. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Well, and okay, so here's where I'm like weird. I don't understand. Here's where I don't know what they're gonna do. with this series. Like, what are they going to do with characters like him if they're going to use that? Like Mojo Jojo, just like this is going to be
let's
real
be honest. In today's climate, him is probably an interesting character to touch on.
And well, exactly. That's what I say. It's like there's so much you can do with these different characters. Because I'm looking at like a slate of villains from the Powerpuff Girls universe, and obviously
there's a lot of them.
Everybody's gonna want to see Mojo Jojo, but they'll probably do something stupid and be like, "Oh, his brain grew too large and exploded," or something like that. Like, who's gonna play the professor is an important question. My vote is Bruce Campbell right now. That would be so good. Give me Bruce Campbell as.
I think Bruce Campbell way above the CW's pay grade.
I know, but still, he has the look and the voice. It's just like I think he would be really good as the professor. I don't know. This is gonna be so weird.
Yeah.
I hope that like Mark Hamill voices Mojo Jojo or something like that. I don't know. I'm intrigued just about the same.
I hope that it still has like the fun aspects of it. I know it's like a dark take on it and everything, but like I hope that it still has like Powerpuff Girl aspects to it, not just the costumes, you know? Because I would hate for them to like remake the Powerpuff Girls and then make it completely different. Like
Here,
it
Nathan,
still has to have.
You want me to read you the breakdown for it?
Sure.
Bennett will portray Blossom Utonium, although she was a spunky, conscientious, Little Miss Perfect child who holds these Blossom's repressed kitty superhero trauma has left her feeling anxious and reclusive, and she aims to become a leader again, this time on her own terms. Cameron will play Bubbles Utonium. Her sweet girl disposition won America's hearts as a child, and she still has sparkles as an adult, but her charming exterior belies an unexpected toughness and wit. She's initially more interested in recapturing her fame than saving the world, but she just might surprise us and herself. Peralt is playing Buttercup Utonium. She was the rebellious badass of the Powerpuff Girls in its heyday. More sensitive than her tough exterior suggests, Buttercup has spent her adulthood trying to shed her Powerpuff Girl identity and live on an anonymous life.
So they're just trying to make it like relatable.
Yeah. That's what
I mean, kudos to them, I guess, but like don't ruin the Powerpuff Girls. I don't think they will, but like if they're gonna make it relatable, I mean, still have aspects of the Powerpuff Girls in it.
Who would have
like
thought?
They can't do a live action Powerpuff Girls show without Mojo Jojo, and if he's not a monkey, that's like the whole idea behind it's gone away.
Yeah, I
want a live action monkey as Mojo Jojo.
I mean, they gave us General Grodd and Flash. It's not that hard to think that they'd do the same thing.
They could totally do a CGI realistic looking Mojo Jojo. It'll look goofy, but
give me the goofiness. Fuzzy Lumpkins. I want Fuzzy Lumpkins.
Yeah, I want something goofy because that's
I want
what
a dummy
the
thick
show wasn't
Fuzzy Lumpkins. Sorry.
Yeah. Make it goofy. Like still be relatable with like the human aspects of it, but like keep the goofiness and like the color. I want it to be really colorful too. Because the show was extremely like
but it sounds like it's gonna be more drab than anything else.
No, I know, but they can you can still do something really colorful and make it really sad. You just have to go from like different color aspects. You know, like Moonlight had a lot of really cool and beautiful colors. That wasn't a necessarily happy movie, you know?
True.
Like you can, even if it's like something small, like the sky, make it blue, do a dark shade of blue, but like make it just like colorful. Because if they keep the colorfulness and some of like the goofiness of the Powerpuff Girls in it, I think it'll be great. Because like I said before, the performers that they've released so far are all very good, you know? So, I mean, I'm gonna give it a chance.
Yeah.
I trust Clay Bennett. I don't really know the other two, so I'm not gonna poo-poo him at all. I
think Dove Cameron had like a Disney career.
Yeah,
like she did. Cole Sprouse did. But since then she's done other projects and she's been very good from what I've heard. But even like to be able to do one of those corny Disney shows, you still have to have like you still need to know what you're doing, you know?
Oh.
Did Chris join?
Oh my
Hello.
God.
Are you driving?
Yo, no.
Okay, good.
I stopped. What's going on, y'all?
Okay. How's it
Hi,
going?
Chris.
Just talk Powerpuff Girls. I know how excited you were to talk about that. Actually,
That's why I'm here. That's the only reason why I'm here. Like I came here to not only I heard what you said. I heard you said earlier, Nate, and I'm so pleased. I mean, hi, nice to meet you.
Hello. It's nice to meet you.
But I heard Nick's incredible casting of Bruce Campbell as what's his name, the professor,
Thank you.
and it was I thought it was so like I was screaming like it's so good, so good. I love that casting so much. And I hope that becomes a thing. Truly, oh my God, that'd be perfect. That'd be so good. And and Tom Kenny needs to be the mayor again, but like in real life, not just do the voice. Like Tom Kenny
That'd be
totally
cool.
needs to be the mayor. Right. But what's up, y'all? What I miss?
How you
I've been
doing?
listening the whole time. Great show.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'm all right.
I had to
Also,
look up
Chris,
who
I
Tom
do have
Kenny
to
was.
say, I really wanted to meet you because my brother told me that you're a huge fan of Because of the Internet by Childish Gambino.
Hell. Yeah, dude.
It's- No joke. I just recently picked up the record, and I'm like, as soon as I go on the show, I have to mention that to Chris. And he's like, yeah, it's just me, Matt,
Right.
doing it. I was like, oh, how am I going to tell Chris that I got this record? So I got the record, and Nick said that you'd be very excited about that. So that made me happy as a fellow Childish Gambino fan. So kudos to you for that.
We're some marks for Donald Glover, and I love it. Because the Internet, it's probably like top 3 albums of all time for me.
Mhm.
I love ETI so much. I also have it on vinyl. I love that project so much. Telegraph Ave is my favorite song off of that. But holy hell, yeah! I heard that you missed me, and this is like an hour and a half ago. So I'm like, yeah, like next time I stop, I'll pop in.
You have to do stop and get food.
I do need to eat, yes. So I won't be here for too long, but yeah, I can hang for a second.
Well, we only got one thing left, so that's perfect.
Let's do it.
Steven Spielberg is developing a biopic, in air quotes, of himself as a child growing up. It's interesting.
I'm excited for this because Shia LaBeouf basically just did it with Honey Boy, and I adored Honey Boy. I thought Honey Boy was awesome.
We don't want to bring up that name right now. That's
all right. I understand 100%. But I'm just saying, as a movie, I appreciate.
Yes.
I respected the movie, not him.
So do I. It's just one of those things. It's heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
That Butter Falcon breaks my heart.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that this could be really cool. This whole idea that he's going to be writing about like him growing up. I hope that like you get some sort of idea of like why he wanted to start making movies and stuff too, and that it's not just like a coming of age story, that it's like a real biopic idea.
I mean, Michelle Williams is signed on to play his mother.
She's good.
That'd be cool.
So, hey,
I like her a lot.
He's writing, he's directing. So
nobody better to tell their own story, right? I don't know. I've always been intrigued by the idea of somebody telling their own story when it comes down to it. I mean, he who shall not be named, when it came to his own movie that we were just discussing, is a pretty intriguing. It was a very intriguing story of how to tell things, and I think that was more of a personal story. Where, I also heard that Madonna wants to make her own biopic, and there's probably going to be a bunch of crap left out of that. So it's like
that could be interesting.
But at the same time, it's like Bohemian Rhapsody had so much involvement from the band as to what they did not want to be shown that I feel like we might miss out on something.
And that's why I love
Yeah.
Rocket Man, because it had so much involvement from Elton. He's like, take it all. Just tell the story.
It did,
Mhm.
and there's very good ways to do that. Trust me. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, we did not get that Sacha Baron Cohen depiction of Freddie Mercury because the band
too
didn't
dark.
want certain things to be told about Freddie, which is respectable to an extent. There things happen. If we're gonna be missing out, and not to shy away from it, but like the Madonna thing, and it's intriguing to me because it's like, how much of her life is she going to tell? Same thing with Spielberg, although I know enough about Spielberg to be like, oh, this is an intriguing idea, but it's like I don't know enough about Spielberg to be like, goodness, like how is this story gonna go? I guess. I don't know.
And that Madonna
project.
project, if I'm not mistaken, speaking of Diablo Cody, because Diablo Cody is a part of the Powerpuff Girls show at the CW, she is also part of the Madonna biopic as well. Like, although like
cool.
Madonna's gonna just supposedly she's gonna like direct, write, and start. Like, we'll see how that goes. But okay, when I first saw this news, I thought to myself, this is the most like pretentious, like self-indulging. I love myself and George. What's up? But I remembered Honey Boy, and we can say his name. We do not condone Shia LaBeouf's actions.
No, I just said it's heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking.
I just made a joke. I made a joke.
No, you're
right. I hope that people didn't think that I was trying to be like, hooray with that, because like I wasn't. I was just saying.
No, we know you weren't. We know you weren't.
No, like, and like people, like a lot of people are pieces of shit. Like it is what it is. But Honey Boy, I loved Honey Boy when I saw it. I thought that movie was so good, and I just like I'm legitimately I legit just remembered it right now when they mentioned it. I'm like, oh shit, like Shia LaBeouf did do Honey Boy. Like that is like that was something that I completely spaced on. Taylor Texas's new show, Podcasters and Coffee and Coffee. Yeah, it's actually really fun. There's a video on me on YouTube. Speaking of old YouTube videos, of me doing a review in a car for a school project that I did. So that was really cool. It was for Goosebumps all them years ago. But
nice.
This Spielberg flick, it just sounds interesting. I want to know how interesting his childhood is to where this movie would make sense, unless he's just making it just to make it. And Michelle Williams, I didn't know that part too. That's actually really interesting. I love Michelle Williams. So I'm on board as long as like what Nick said with Bohemian Rhapsody. There is such thing as having these people being too hands-on in their projects. So I'm just like I don't like Rocket Man's a great example of someone just saying like, yeah, just do everything. Who cares? But Bohemian Rhapsody, on the other end of that, like we don't want Freddie to be looked in a certain type of way because he wasn't the perfect human being. So I think we'll see what happens with Spielberg. Do we know where this movie's coming out of? Is it Universal?
No.
Word. So like, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I'm looking forward to it nonetheless.
Absolutely.
And it's like that's my big thing when it comes down to this. It's like what is this film going to be? What warrants? Because I think that a film about Steven Spielberg, when it came to first movie on, would be interesting. But it's like this side of it.
The fact that he's directing and writing is weird. Yeah, like it could be like unless he has like this incredible childhood story that we just don't know.
Considering it's talking about his early life growing up in Arizona, my guess is what inspired him to get into filmmaking. That's just my guess. Because
that would be
what
cool,
other story do you tell?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Especially for someone like Spielberg.
Some pretty interesting movies,
Right. Like Spielberg's probably one of the most recognizable names in Hollywood, in front of or behind the camera. So the fact that like Spielberg would get a movie about Steven Spielberg would be like, that'd be one hell of a way to end your career, making a movie about yourself. But I guarantee Steven Spielberg ain't done anytime soon. So this just seems weird. The timing of this is weird. Granted, we don't know when this is coming out either. It's not like it has a date or it has like a time frame. We just know it's happening.
I was gonna say he's like
Or-
so busy when it comes to his films either way. So like,
Right,
who knows?
right.
Right,
Like,
but
I'm
if he
not-
already
I'm
has
not
people
too-
signed onto it, I feel like he has to have some sort of idea, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean-
totally.
So probably sooner than later, I would assume. I mean,
Well, isn't
obviously
he
that's
making a
something when he started
a
filming.
biopic about the making of what's the movie he's remaking right now?
West Side Story?
West Side Story. I thought he was doing a biopic about the making of West Side Story along with West Side Story. So like,
Yeah,
I didn't know he was doing West Side Story.
yeah, with Rachel
That'd be
Zegler
cool.
and Ansel Elgort, which that's
Oh,
a
I did know
bad
that.
leading man to
Never mind.
have right now.
I have heard about that. That'll
Yeah,
be cool.
you probably heard about it for the wrong reasons. But
Yeah.
that West. I mean, I'm still looking forward to West Side Story. I'm stoked.
I'm looking forward for Rachel Zegler and the fact that Rita Moreno, if I remember correctly, if that's her name,
Mhm.
is coming back to be a part of it, and it's like, hey, let's get her a second Oscar for that movie.
that'd be great.
Damn right.
That'd be amazing.
I know,
That'd be so iconic.
but yeah, that's the show.
That's the
All
show.
right.
That's it. So for everyone who tuned in, thank you for tuning in. It's been fun. Next week, the guest is up in the air. We'll see what happens. We're figuring that out, trying to hear back from them. But we'll be back with movie news and other commentary going into next week. Who knows?
We will have a guest. It just depends on who.
Yeah.
That's all.
Exactly. That's the big factor. We'll figure that out. And we'll
Because
figure
this
that out
was
this
a great, consistent viewership from great people, and we appreciate you very much. As Taylor says, Mommy Milky. But yes, thank you, Nate. Thank you, Nathan, for joining
Absolutely.
us as our first
Anytime.
guest when it comes to the revamped Real Talk. Chris Anthony Lopez, safe travels, and thank you so much for joining us for the last couple of segments. We
It
appreciate it.
was nice meeting you, man.
Likewise, brother.
I'm glad we had our reunion here.
I
Mommy
mean,
Milky.
you might be able to meet him in a month or so. For real.
We'll see. We'll see.
Cool.
But thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you so much for joining the revamped, retooled, Who Are They Real Entertainment? What Real Entertainment? Real Talk. We appreciate you very much. I don't know. You can say your goodbyes.
And have a good night.
Adieu, adieu, parting is such sweet sorrow.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.